more into NASCAR stuff. And obviously, I'm pretty sure they ran the full course. No, they didn't run the full course this season, did they? But they do run the shorter course. And I mean, iRacing as usual just does a fantastic job to make the racing look as, the racetrack to look as close as they can to real life. And well, I wish I could be there. One day I'll go there, but I love it.
You mentioned the NASCAR course, as it's pretty much called, out of the carousel, which for the NASCAR course gets called turn 9 because the bus stop gets counted as 4 corners. I will die on that hill. Out of what would then be turn 9, the carousel, you go straight towards turn number 10. That way, 10 and 11 are the same, no matter which course you're talking about. I like the way that gets numbered then. So out of the bus stop through the carousel, you take the short chute, passing up the entire boot configuration. As it is known, you can kind of see it if you were to flip it upside down, and turns 6 and 9 be the top of the boot. You can kind of see where it gets the name, of course. We do have a field of 13 drivers to go ahead and introduce you to. A big upturn from 6 at Mid-Ohio, so we do want to thank each of these drivers for coming out, turning up to this 5th race of the season. On pole, it is Steve Singer being able to start from the front. That is going to help that number 6 car. He's been oh so fast and is looking to grab another race win this evening. But Andrew Locke back for the first time since, I want to say, Barber. No, it would have been likely Lime Rock, where we last saw the number 23. He's back and is starting from outside pole. Starting third, it is going to be Brian Rose, the number 89. David Bradford on his left side. Popple teammates there in row number 2. Starting 5th in this race, it's David Levine, somebody with a lot of laps here in various racing cars in the real world. That's going to be tough to beat from position number 5. Will Hewitt will start from 6th, starting 7th in this race. JP at Stephen Baldwin. Cody Harger will wrap up the top 8. Falling back to 9th, though, it's Timothy George, teammate to David Levine. We'll see how those two work out on this high draft track, with Jeff Napier back in the field, starting from 10th.
In 11th place, we're going to have the 72 of Carson Conway. Alongside of him, the number 5 of Mark Truxell. Obviously, a last week winner, starting from 2nd to last, because 13th place goes to Thomas McMullen in the number 02.
And a big thank you to all of our partners here at PitStop TV. There are a good few of them, of course, beginning with Tucson Sound Art, where your picture means your music. Quite simple. Maybe, admittedly, a little bit late to try and get a gift by Christmas, but if you come into a little bit of Christmas money this holiday season, by all means, check out Tucson Sound Art at TucsonSoundArt.com. They can hook you up with a fantastic sound art device. What that means is basically a Bluetooth speaker set within a canvas that you can hang up on your wall. You can hang up just about wherever, and it looks fantastic. We've frozen an iRacing. Hopefully that doesn't carry over. I think the stream is still going. I think we're going to be okay for just a moment. We'll let things figure themselves out. But also a big shout out, of course, to Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, where you deserve the best care that money can buy. Whiplash Media, the official graphic and camera provider of PitStop TV, and BAM Racing Videos, by a race fan for the racing community. You know, I've not had to navigate this one in just a little bit. Looks like iRacing has gone ahead and said no to us. So we will take a step aside. We'll get that sorted out. We'll be right back to you. Don't go anywhere. PitStop TV will have a race this evening. It just might take a moment.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home by combining the best of 2 products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of two products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
As you can see in front of you, race cars are making their way through the S's for the first time. We just picked up green flag. Andrew Locke is now all over the number 6, hounding for the race lead, almost alongside. They'll go down to the bus stop for the first time. Appreciate everybody's patience there with the start. We got it. Lap 1. We are right back with these guys through turn 6 now for the first time. Into the boot. This is going to be where things get a little bit more tricky. A lot of these guys in this league, they're NASCAR drivers. They tell us that, right? That they are oval drivers. This is development for them. Coming into the boot for the first time, these guys might be maybe in some uncharted territory. A lot of these other guys, they have experience running around through the Watkins, Glen, and plenty of it. We've got a battle here. Will Hewitt and Cody Harder into turn number 8 behind David Levine. Hewitt defends that spot, keeps it up front. Singer still leading.
Yeah, Singer got a perfect start. Kinda got challenged out of turn 4, but Locke had to press on the brakes and unfortunately lost a bit of contact. Currently the gap around 9/10 of a second, around 8-9/10 of a second. So Singer kinda has an opportunity right here to control the pace as he loses a bit of time on the final sector. So we're gonna see if Locke has anything to respond on the back straight. You know, maybe getting a better exit. Now the gap's down to 5/10 of a second, so he's definitely on that slipstream range. As we do have, looks like everybody's kind of fighting with one another. We do have a few packs emerging, like Brendan Rose, David Levine. They're also fighting, going side by side. Actually, looks like on the uphill into turn 3.
Levine gets that spot, takes the inside for turn number 2, and moves right on by Brian Rose, who's now going to have to contend with Will Hewitt. The draft certainly benefiting the number 33 up the hill. Here we go, side by side down to the bus stop. The Corvette on the inside takes the spot easily. So the Corvettes, they've got some advantage, it seems, in the slipstream, or maybe just being able to take advantage of it now that the race is going. Certainly making a couple passes there. 2 Corvettes on by an Aston Martin. It's looking good for the Chevrolet camp. But remember, drivers are forced into their car choice for the rest of the season. They cannot move around, but they may force a penalty as Cody Harder, a little bit wide there in turn 6, gets a hold back on things. I actually don't know if drivers would be able to switch and just incur themselves a penalty. That may be an option for some of them, but hey, Sirius told us, no, we don't want switching, so they can't chase the BOP. Well, I say BOP, they can't chase the car preference. The racetrack. We'll see how that affects the rest of the season. Out wide of the turn number 8 is David Bradford, taking a bit of an extra few feet on the exit of turn number 8. Gets things back righted, and
the lead, yeah.
Steve Singer.
Looks like already suffering a bit of pressure. I saw that gap coming down, so Locke managed to apply the pressure. Looks like he applied too much pressure, and Steve Singer made a mistake on the exit of turn 9. I'm pretty sure he just went a bit wide. We talked about it on the track map. You know, the track just, your tires, your front tires just understeer. We're going to take a look at exactly what happened. So you can see Steve Singer falling under a lot of pressure into turn 8. Just misses a bit of the apex, and then applied too much throttle too early, hit the barrier, lost the lead, but luckily still in second place.
The turn 9 is a tricky one. I feel like it's gotten easier on this scan of the iRacing, or of Watkins Glen specifically. I feel like it's gotten a little bit easier as we've got problems in turn number 1. We'll come back to that replay now. This is me for Carson Conway. But I feel like turn 9 has definitely gotten just a little bit easier for these drivers. I wonder what they would say about it. This is Conway down to turn number 1. Really deep. Right into McMullen. Turns him around. And that's how that goes.
Is that a friendly nudge to get him back into the racing circuit? Kind of looked like it. Luckily, they didn't get too much damage from it. Looks like just a miscommunication. Just going too deep into the braking zone, unfortunately for those two. Losing a bit of time, but I mean, not a lot of damage. That's something, these drivers have to avoid. Obviously, they do have the new damage model. Is it new still, Andrew? Can we call it new damage model? They do have the updated.
It's not fully implemented for all other cars. I think it still fits as new for the moment. Work in progress is Bradford. Off again. Now, generally, it seems like track limits are established by the outside of the curb. So you get up until all 4 wheels leave the red and yellow curving. That's when iRacing tends to designate you as off track. That's when you'll incur a 1x penalty. And you know what? Somebody who asked me a great question about those 1x penalties, this guy right here, David Levine, asked me earlier today about it. To be honest with you, I don't know for sure. As Stephen Baldwin has a spill. This is in turn 9. McMullen gets by. He almost noses into the wall there, does Baldwin, and gets back righted, and will continue.
Unfortunately for him, pretty sure, that's another mistake into turn 9. Did he get into the grass? That's a little bit of a grass zone. I'm not pretty sure if there is still on the new track. I'm pretty sure there is. Just a tiny little batch of grass. Does he go into it? Just maybe goes wide. As we're gonna take a look, the Corvette has a little bit of damage already. Yes, he just a tiny little bit under pressure. Yeah, just carry a bit too much speed. Not a lot of grip on those front tires. Luckily, he waits for a safe gap to pull back on the racing track, and he does so. Not a lot of damage though. That wasn't too hard of a hit. Could have gone way worse for him.
It easily could have. Somebody who has, I think, gone pretty poorly for, though, is Steve Singer off the start. A lot of right side damage. It's always a lot more difficult to work through, right? When you're up front, you hit the wall early. Now you've got to try and regroup from that, much like us getting the broadcast going. Boom, iRacing decides not to work with us, and you got to get back into a rhythm, right? So Steve Singer right now in that phase, getting back into a rhythm, reestablishing himself on this racetrack, and just trying to get back after Andrew Locke a little bit. Thankfully, he's got a pretty healthy gap back to David Bradford. He doesn't have to worry too much. You can see Bradford, my goodness, the save behind. Good catch there. That was something.
That was amazing. I'm pretty sure his heart skipped a beat right there. He almost saw third place going into shambles on the exit of turn 9. Luckily for him, managed to keep the car pointing at the right direction, and well, he's currently the best sitting Corvette. Looks like we do have a 1-2 for Aston Martin and a 3-4 for Corvette. Maybe even a 3 Corvette finishing off the top 5, as now we're looking into the 69 of George chasing Cody Harger on the Aston Martin. So we do have another battle. As you can see, 2 cars taking quite a different line into turn 1. One going a bit wide, the another one cutting a little bit. Now we're going to see the Corvette, just following the Aston Martin, letting the Aston Martin punch there. As you can see, already so much more speed. It's going to be flying.
Very offline.
Yeah. Yes, looks like Cody Harger might be nursing a bit of a problem as George just completely flies by him.
I don't think that was even a problem. That was just really bad setup for the S's. Now very deep into the bus stop goes Harger. Has to sit back, loses some time to George. And, Tim just ran up on him, had the line. He just ran the line through the S's. Harger was very wide out there, out of 2. Didn't make the turn when he needed to. Tim locks way up into 6. kind of like that, where he just went wide and then suddenly came back down, and that just lost a lot of time for Harger up the hill. Thankfully for Tim, he hangs onto the spot at least for his little mistake. And again, that's where the lockup is certainly an issue. No ABS, that tends to catch drivers out. We'll look back at our race leader, almost catching the bit of grass there like some of these drivers have done so far today. Not quite 10 minutes in, Andrew Locke has the field on lock.
Yeah, exactly. That was a good one. Currently controlling the pace. I thought he's going to be losing a bit of touch to Steve Singer after he had to brake on turn 1. On lap 1. But looks like he's now controlling the pace. You know, has a good advantage. Obviously, Steve Singer nursing a little bit of damage. As looks like this battle is definitely not over for 7th place. Cody Harger definitely has some answer to George right now. Oh, right now he's going to be falling under pressure. Mark Truxell trying to get his position. Looks like he will be getting that into turn 1, leaving quite a bit of space to the number 66 Aston Martin. Oh, he just holds around the outside. That was beautiful. Truxell left him plenty of room, and unfortunately for him, did not work out.
Yeah, neither one of these guys, they've been racing around each other. Neither one of them is going to hurt themselves this early in the race. They're not going to race any kind of dumb or anything, if you will. Side by side, they will go, though, down to the bus stop. Harger definitely is not very fast up the S's for whatever reason right now. They'll come into the bus stop. Here we go. And Harger lets that spot go to the number 5 of Truxell. Now, last week's winner at Mid-Ohio gets to hunt down the number 69 of Tim George. We'll see how that goes. Love the views around the very scenic Watkins Glen International. Seems like we're in a bit of an afternoon, kind of almost sunset vibe here in virtual New York. And I like it. I like it a lot. This is down to turn number 8 for Andrew Locke.
Yeah, I like it too. I wish I could be in there. I will be there one day, but you know, maybe. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be watching GT1s, Andrew. That's kind of something that will definitely not happen. But you know, there's plenty of other racing. Unfortunately, Formula One does not come into Watkins Glen. Would be very, very interesting though if they did one day. But you know, this. Oh yeah, they used to. It could be a nice throwback, couldn't it?
Could you imagine an F1 throwback race like NASCAR? That'd be pretty cool. I would definitely pay to watch that one. Will Hewitt, a bit wide there in 10, gives up a tiny bit of time maybe to Brian Rose. These two fighting, and I feel like Brian Rose has come miles from where he started the season. Will Hewitt, I think, has as well. Missed last week at Mid-Ohio, though, so it's not as fresh in my mind as, well, Rose took a look down at turn number 1. These two drivers, though, they've both gotten a whole lot better than they were. So that's where the development part of things comes in, and it's certainly been working.
Yeah, exactly. Brian Rose is doing way better than he did last week. Obviously, I would say that Mid-Ohio is a bit trickier to drive than Watkins Glen. Not saying that Watkins Glen is such an easy track. It's not. We've seen plenty of mistakes, but so far his racecraft has been absolutely phenomenal. We haven't seen a lot of mistakes. We haven't seen, issues for him. And right now, he's even fighting for position. So, you know, as you mentioned, the development series, and we can already see plenty of progress across the field. And this is just amazing to see. You know, we're halfway through the championship. We cannot wait to see what the drivers will do on the 10th and final race of the season.
And of course, a lot of it is just learning these cars. I'm sure these guys could have gotten around a whole lot easier at first in easier cars. But learning difficult to drive cars like the GT1 cars that kind of bred us GTLM and GTE as we know it. Learning these cars is very valuable skill. It's very valuable to these drivers and their development on the iRacing.com sim, potentially on further in life in their racing careers. So learning these cars, still a good thing for them to do, and it will inevitably just a byproduct. They will learn road course racing, at least to a certain point. So no, they probably won't learn everything they need to, as we got a problem here. Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Carson
that is...
Conway also with issues. He's in the pit lane, but this is the bigger of the two.
Yeah, that's a huge incident. Looks like he's able to drive it on 3 wheels. That reminds me of Michael Schumacher in Spa. I'm not quite sure which year, just driving on 3 wheels, making his way back into the pit lane. But unfortunately for him, that's not going to be race over. Yeah, that's turning just a tiny little bit, just enough for him. We're going to take a look to see what happened. I'm pretty sure that was uphill into turn 7, if I'm not mistaken.
Out of turn 7.
Out of turn 7.
The worst part of this is going to be solo on his own. Just gets loose. This is very, very easy to do. Well, by help of the grass. Remember the North American Racing League race here? We saw a lot of that.
Yeah, it just happens, you know, it's just such a fine margin. You really have to get close to that grass on exit to get the perfect exit. And unfortunately for him, just threaded, you know, just too much. I guess just applied the throttle a bit too early. The understeer came in. And something you mentioned, Andrew, you know, with the GT1 cars, I guess these are such good cars to learn because, you know, they're old cars, obviously. You know, as you mentioned, they went to GTLM and then GTE and now GT3 cars as we know it. And, you know, some things that we don't have in these cars, like ABS brakes, you know, they are just going to learn way better. You know, it's just way better to modulate the brakes as we do have. Looks like an instant for the 72. Is this this is a replay. Unfortunately for him, again, all on his own. But, you know, the drivers around here are going to, you know how to modulate the brake and the throttle. And as soon as they race, let's say, a GT3 car, which is really coming alive on the iRacing platform, they're just going to go so much better because they know how to modulate the brake, the throttle, you know, the inputs. And, you know, it's just going to be great for them as well.
I will say, one big thing that you're kind of tapping onto there is that, yeah, modulating brakes is actually quite helpful in GT3 racing when you're working your way up. It keeps you out of chattering the ABS. There is ABS in GT3 cars. Some say maybe it makes them a little bit too easy, but I don't think so. You still got to master that system, right? Just like anything else in life, you've got to master it if you want to go fast, if you want to be good, right? Being able to keep from locking up the brakes in a GT1 car or a GTE car will help you in a GT3 car. You know, if you ever make that switch or whatever, if you're able to use the brake pedal until you get to that ABS, wherever that spot may be, for that particular situation, if you're able to use that without hitting the ABS and chattering the nose, it will definitely help you. So you're definitely right in that regard. 30 minutes to go in this race. On board with Mark Truxell in position number 8. He's following Timothy George, and we're following Mark Truxell right now because he won last week at Mid-Ohio. Fantastic race. Really just played the game of attrition and kept his car on the racetrack as long as he could, and well, won the race. So that's really all it comes down to. We will not have a halfway break in this race like we had in weeks prior. That is the big distinction between 7 races and 3, basically. 7 races, they do have a break, but Daytona, our season opener, the series at Watkins Glen, in race number 8, I believe it was, at Monza, will not have halfway breaks. It's going to change things up for these guys just a little bit tonight. They don't get to rely on that halfway break anymore, so that will definitely change things. Still got to make that pit stop, so it won't come under caution now. I think that is the biggest issue for these drivers. They don't get that free stop. They have to think about where do they strategically take it, right? We're used to seeing that in the North American Racing League and other racing leagues that we've covered. It doesn't happen quite as often here.
Exactly. This is gonna come. You know, it's gonna be another strategy. Something we often talk about in the NARL. You know, just when do you pit? Do you undercut? You know, if you can pass the driver, do you undercut him? You know, do you pit early, get free track? You know, just push your car to the limit. Do you overcut? You know, allow him to pit first, get his car. You know, those tires get a little bit colder. He has a bit more fuel in the car, so the car gets a little bit heavier, and then you have, you know, free track as well. So that strategy game will come tonight. We're gonna see a bit of that, and we're gonna see who's gonna apply that. You know, probably not everybody's gonna come into the pit at the exact same time, as we do have even more issues for the 72. Carson Conway looks like on the exit of 9, unfortunately right now, spinning around, and now his car has a lot of damage. Oh, that suspension is broken.
Yeah, that right front is junk. And that's going to be that. He's going to tow back to the pit lane. He decided quite quickly, once it did not turn, that he was just going to go ahead and ride it out to the wall. And that was that. The car was pretty clean. I think he had just taken a fast repair right before this, and it's pretty clean now. It won't be for very long. This is up the hill to turn number 9 to exit the boot. And, I mean, just wide. Just carried way too much speed. It is difficult to judge turn 9. I feel like it's gotten easier because it's less bumpy. I didn't say it was easy, though, as you can see, with so many drivers having issues, just judging that corner and judging when they need to brake and how hard they need to brake and how they need to enter that corner. Now, I said Carson Conway would tow. He's not yet, and he's got some cars coming up on him, so he's got to be careful here not to run out into the racing line. That was very close. As no, that was not Levine. That was actually Timothy George coming on through. We've got very similar paint schemes, one red, one yellow, but Tim George at least has the car behind him. That'll tell you that's Mark Truxell.
Yeah, he's still under pressure, and well, he's soaking the pressure quite well, especially when you consider that Mark Truxell won the race last week, didn't make a lot of mistakes. So Timothy George is doing a fantastic race so far. And talking about turn 9, do you know how I judge turn 9, Andrew?
I would love to know. Let's see if we can find somebody who's heading into turn 9, maybe. Steve Singer will be close. So you get a moment here. Tell us how, and then we'll see it in practice.
Well, obviously right now they're into turn 7, you know, just uphill, get a throttle around the midway point, go a bit wider into the grass, don't go too wide, obviously, don't go into the danger zone, then you head down into turn 10, you brake around the 70, you know, 100, I guess 70 meter board, that's the 100 meter board right there, and then you just go wide, now you have a bit of tarmac, and then you brake just right here, you have a little bit of undulation on the racetrack, allows you to brake, and then you have to go easy on the brakes to make sure those front tires grip in, and then obviously just be careful on throttle not to apply too much throttle, otherwise your front tires just won't hang on and you just understeer into the barrier. Obviously, as you know, I'm not unfortunately a professional racing driver's mistakes do happen, but no, once you get a bit of those, you know, just coordinations, just those sweet spots on the racetrack, it kind of gets a little bit easier, especially on those tricky corners. And this is something for the 46. Unfortunately for him, locking up the front brakes looks like on turn 6.
That wasn't even a lockup. That was just carrying, I mean, tons of speed into the corner. Just never really made the corner. There was somebody else who had a problem. It wasn't Bradford. It was Will Hewitt. Just about the same time. This is as we were going through that issue, or not that issue, but kind of how you take turn 9. So we already saw the issue for Bradford. Here's Will Hewitt. Comes up and passes Bradford, actually, as Bradford waits on iRacing to allow him to take the tow. And then Will Hewitt has a problem just moments later. This is turn 7. I don't think it happens yet. It could be on exit, just like we saw earlier, and yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately for him on exit.
Not
Luckily
too bad,
for him,
though.
yeah, no, not a lot of damage. Luckily for him, I'm pretty sure he hit the tire barrier, so he's gonna be glad not to carry
that
way
was
too
close.
much. Yeah,
That was
that
close.
was close. But luckily for him, he gets the car back in one piece and gets back on race. It looks like he lost around 3 positions, if I'm not mistaken, maybe just 2. But you know, car in one piece, that's better than some of the other instances we had.
Oh my god.
Ooh!
That's... Maybe just wait the extra second or 2, just to save them the code brown.
Yeah, exactly. That could have been a bit better. He could have also, you know, just turned off the traction control, just tried to, you know, spin those tires around. Obviously, that could have gone way worse as well. So, you know, better just to hold the brakes a little bit and then just do a 3-point turn.
Here we go.
Oh,
pit
and
stops.
look, there we go. The number 6 goes into the pits, locking up a little bit. He's going to be fixing that damage, getting some fuel into that car, and going for the undercut.
And somebody else is in the pit lane for a different reason. He finally completed his tow back to the pits. Cody Harder now taking some service, and it looks like he's done. But Singer will come along into the pit lane and will receive some pit service. We should not see tire changes for these guys, especially staying under green. Let's see what Steve Singer does. Into his box, his crew hanging out, having an ice cream bar. And we do not see the car go up on jacks, at least not yet. Fuel going in, that should be all that happens here for the number 6, aside from the fast repair that he did take. So that right front damage now gone. He should be okay there. That's a lot of fuel that he's taking.
Yeah, I was gonna say over 20 seconds. That's not something we usually see. Maybe just a mistake on the pit settings from his part. Maybe a penalty.
A lot of fuel.
Could have been a penalty for the pit
Penalty
entry.
is
He locked up on the timing, essentially timing board, maybe for the speed. Unfortunately for him, I'm not pretty sure the undercut will work with that timing. We're gonna see Jeff Napier right now, and we're gonna see how much fuel you're kind of supposed to take on that start of pit stop, as he stopped well over for 50 seconds.
Yeah, this is a bit of a problem at this point, and finally rolls away. That's about 40 seconds longer than I would have felt like he should have taken, so we'll compare a little more with Napier here in a moment. We've got a battle, though. Tim George, Mark Truxell, and George finally has to rescind the spot to Mark Truxell, last week's winner. We'll see how this one goes down to turn number 8, and nothing to say about it. Can't get him back there. You'll have to wait just a moment. Napier finally maybe going to roll away from the pit lane. Hasn't done so yet. Also, a very, very long stop.
Also, maybe a mistake. Yeah, now David Levine is going to be in, so looks... Oh, he's went up on jacks. Yeah, he's changing tires, going for a bold strategy. Might work, might not work. Most likely not going to be able to make that time back. Now David Levine is coming down into pit lane. Rose as well. Oh, it looks like pretty much everybody's coming down in pit lane. Just a few drivers. Just Locke. It didn't come to pit lane, maybe?
Locke has gone 1 extra lap. McMullen as well. I think it's a much looser fuel window for these guys, as Levine is already on the throttle. He's waiting. Let's watch with him. He's going to fire off here in just a moment. That was Bradford leaving the box. Here's Rose into the box. 16.97 for Levine. Rose is now in. And we should see something similar here to a 17-second stop. Will Hewitt, he's in a 16.4. So that I think is pit stop done well for Will Hewitt. That's exactly what you want there. Rose a little bit long, 18.5. George a little bit long as well, 19.0.
So looks like, looks like a mistake for Singer and Appear. Unfortunately for them, that's going to be costing quite a bit of time on the race itself. Might be battle for the lead. That might be over for the time being. And now we're going to see if Locke, if he makes a mistake, if he has any sort of penalty, as he's going to come down to pit lane. No, not yet. So carry on. The number 23 going long into the stint.
Truxell also stayed out. He's into turn 8 now, so we should see what he does here in just a few moments. Battles out of the pit lane. Really, the only one to speak of is McMullen and George. George closing in on the O2 of McMullen, and we've seen McMullen with an issue or two. He's, been punted off the racetrack already once in turn number 1, so hopefully his race gets righted a little bit here as the number 69 will do some work and try and get on by. When does Truxell come in? Is it this lap? Yes.
Yes, it is. So there you go. Now second place comes down into pit lane. That leaves pretty much only Andrew Locke, if I'm not mistaken, to come down into pit lane. He's going really long in this stint. It's going to be good for him. He's going to come out with, I guess, one of the lightest cars on the field. And yeah, it should work out. So we should be expecting a 16-second stop from Mark Truxell.
Jeff Napier into the pit lane. Into his box, actually. That tells me he towed.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage on that bonnet.
The bonnet, that's a hood.
Yeah, there we go. Now I'm pretty sure that's a bonnet right there over the V8. So unfortunately for him, he had a very long stop, didn't he, Andrew? So things. Oh
well, yeah, that's not how you do that, Jimmy. No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's not the optimal line to turn 1. No. Unfortunately for him, maybe just. Hardware failure could be, because his car's starting out locking up really late.
No, he had a lot of damage, and this will tell us how he got it. Let's go on board with him here. Wide and 9. Thankfully didn't hit it there. So we got by the spot where everybody else is at the wall, it seemed like. This is turn 10 for Jeff Napier, and I think it's going to happen up here at 11. Into turn, yeah, very, very deep. That's
maybe
a
just
hit and a half.
Already brake issues, maybe?
That doesn't look like a brake issue. That looks a little more like just missing the corner the entire way. This will be down to the corner, and this should be a look at things. That's certainly, that's certainly a view.
Yeah, that's not what you want to see. Maybe the cameraman right there got a perfect shot of the instant before disaster, the moment before disaster, not the instant before disaster. But unfortunately for Jeff, his race went from bad to worse, as finally Andrew Locke comes into the pit lane. I just saw he's from New York, so could this be considered his home race?
That would be accurate, yeah. Being from New York, that would be perfectly accurate for Andrew Locke. 17.0 in the lane. That's very, very similar to David Levine, but a 17-second gap is going to hurt that. No, 15-second gap actually is... well, I saw a red on the screen. That was actually Napier being passed by Carson Conway. Conway's still running. In case you're wondering about the drivers who have parked it for the day, those being David Bradford, Cody Harger, and Stephen Baldwin, they are all more than 5 laps down and done. One driver left to pit, and here he comes, Thomas McMullen.
Oh, those brake lights were on for quite a long time after that, timing board, I guess you could say,
well,
that radar gun.
If you're able to bring the average in Sector 1 of the pit lane down, you actually dodge potentially being a little too fast over the line. So if you are speeding by 5, 10, even 15 or 20 sometimes, and if you slow down enough to bring your average in that first part of pit lane down, you'll actually escape a pit penalty. Basically, much like NASCAR's timing loops in the pit lane, you just need to average under that speed. Now, I think there's certain other allowances, maybe different parameters with NASCAR, but generally you just need that average to be lower. So you can play the timing loops a little bit, as he's going to take tires here. That's often a thing with NASCAR races, is you got to play the timing lines in pit lane. You can do kind of the same thing here. The lines aren't always the same, and they aren't very obvious, so I wouldn't suggest it, but you can at least on entry.
Now you mention it, just remember Lewis Hamilton did that once around Silverstone during the race. You know, that first sector he went really, really fast, but somehow managed to get the car stopped and brought his average down, didn't get a drive-through penalty. So, you know, that might be a thing as well in Formula 1 now that you mention it. And, well, luckily for him, looks like no penalty as Will Hewitt now kind of takes advantage of a midway curb on the straight, trying to catch up to George right ahead of him for a fight, to try to fight for fifth place. That's Singer ahead of him.
Yeah, that is Steve Singer up ahead. Tim George has moved up to 4th. Singer has dropped down to 5th. Hewitt to 6th. Truxell is down in 7th now. Truxell had a 59-second stop, and I think that's tires again. So guys, drivers, if you're going back and listening to our voices, you do not need tires in these races. If anything, the cold tires are going to hurt you. They are going to hurt you a lot more than help you, especially when you counter in the 40-second difference in the pit lane. Do not take tires in this race. If you get a yellow, that's different. At that point, that's up to you and if you want to deal with the cold tires. But under a green flag pit stop, do not take tires in these races. You're only going to hurt yourself. We've seen that now from Thomas McMullen as well. Steve Singer now, he had something else. And you know what? I wonder then if Truxell, he could have potentially sped. It's about the same difference. I mean, 59 seconds in the lane, or on the box rather, that it could have been a penalty. Could have.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're seeing quite I guess not a maybe a pattern from those guys. You know, maybe the timings are quite similar. You know, you take it, you know, in count the pit timer. You know, a bit of more fuel, less fuel into each car should be around the same. So maybe the pit lane cut a few drivers out. But yeah, as you mentioned, when we talk about tires, you absolutely do not need. You have to remember that these cars are. You can't say, oh, they're endurance cars. There we go. I was going to say long distance racing cars. That's not really the term, is it? Endurance cars, you know, those tires are supposed to last, what, 2-3 fuel tanks maybe? 2-3 stints. So, you know, on a 45-minute race, you absolutely do not have to take tires. But, you know, it's a strategy. You know, they're going to learn, as we mentioned, development series, absolutely nothing wrong with making that mistake. And sometimes you may think that's the, you know, I guess, maybe the obvious choice. As you can see, Formula 1 tires only lasting maybe 10-15 laps. NASCAR tires not lasting a whole lot. So, you know, it could be down to that sometimes.
Inside of 15 minutes to go, I want to thank you all for tuning in this evening to PitStop TV. We certainly do appreciate it, as do our partners, Tucson Sound Art, Permanent Make and Cry When Maine, Whiplash Media, and BAM Racing Videos. Watching David Levine, second place, trying to hunt down Andrew Locke, and it is not working so far. He's lost already a second out of the pit lane. So Andrew Locke, again, has the field on lock. I won't make that joke again, I promise. But Brian Rose now sorts into 3rd after pit stops. Timothy George into 4th. Levine and George, both new drivers. There were a couple of other new drivers on the list. They did not turn out this evening at Watkins, Glen, so hopefully we'll see them at Canadian Tire on the far side of the new year. This is not a battle for position, unfortunately, because McMullen took tires on his stop, went quite a bit further. I guess took much longer time in the lane, so there goes George on by the lap car of McMullen now. They were battling previously. Steve Singer is the next car back. He took far too long in the pit lane, and we don't know yet if it were for tires. Well, actually, it wasn't for tires. It had to have been a penalty, we imagine, for the number 6 car of Steve Singer. And that's kind of rewritten this race. Beforehand, Singer, well, he started on pole, held the lead for some time, then walled it in turn 9 that we're coming up to here in just a moment. You can see 1 lap led, so I say led for some time, I guess not really, led for a lap. And then walled it on lap number 2, gave that lead up to Andrew Locke, and the 23 has been on top since then. And really, Steve Singer's race has only gotten far, far worse. This kind of goes back to Mid-Ohio in that sense here, JP, where Steve Singer is always plenty quick, always a very fast race car driver, but tends to kind of throw these races away, unfortunately, and that's part of developing as a race car driver, developing on these road courses and putting a race together. That's part of it. It's something you have to learn.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, I guess you put it perfectly. You know, Mid-Ohio, he had a strong pace, just like he did here. You know, he put a car on pole, so he's technically the fastest car. He has the fastest car. He's the fastest driver right here. But unfortunately, you know, he cannot put so far, you know, consistent fast times without making a mistake. You know, that's something you just get on practicing, you know, just doing your thing. You know, sometimes it's just better to slow a bit down, you know, lose a couple tenths each lap to make sure you get, you know, those consistent times. You know, it's better if you turn a 1:23.7 each lap, you know, and unlike, you know, turning a 1:23.1 and then a 1:25 and then a 1:27 and then a 1:22, as you do see a puff of smoke, looks like it, down into turn 6. But yeah, you know, as soon as he works on consistency, his race pace is gonna be near unbeatable. As right now, looks like he's trying to make a move on George. No, that's a lapped car. That's the 02 of McMullen. It's gonna be lapped, but you know, as soon as he gets that nailed down, boy, he's gonna be a weapon.
So it was Lock with the win at Daytona. Cocker came in and McMullen goes off in 8. Cocker come in and won Barber. Steve Singer won Lime Rock. Truxell won Mid-Ohio. Locke might be the first to double up so long as he doesn't throw this race away. A 20-second lead now over David Levine. And it looks like he's going to wrap things up. 11 minutes to go, though. And there is our race leader of the number 23. I don't know where this guy came from, but this honestly puts him on notice for me. This puts him on a really high up list as far as really good drivers on this iRacing.com sim. Now, I'm not saying that David Levine is 10,000 iRating Ty Majeski of the road course, but David Levine is a former IMSA driver, former NASCAR driver, former ARCA driver, has got a lot of experience and is one of the smoothest operators behind the virtual wheel that I know, as well as the real wheel. And to be this far ahead of him, I think is the part that really stands apart for me. Is beating David is one thing. Beating him by 20 seconds at a racetrack that he loves is kind of different.
I mean, beating anyone by 20 seconds, that's, you know, that's just something, especially when you consider he's only been racing for 35 minutes. But he's doing a fantastic job, you know. As you mentioned, he's on the radar right now. If he nails qualify for the next few rounds and, you know, consistently do this, I mean, I'm not gonna say it, but you know, he's gonna be on watch for the championship. As it looks like now, we're gonna have a battle for 4th place as Steve Singer really caught up to the back end of the number 69. Now George is gonna be under pressure from the championship leader, nonetheless, the pulse hitter. Looks like Timothy already found I guess a bit of pressure, already felt a bit of pressure from the number 6 right behind him, and well, it's only going to get worse.
And behind these two, Hewitt and Truxell are also starting to battle. Here's a look at it as they work out of turn number 6. Hewitt's been in the fence again. I dare say out of turn number 9 if I had to guess. And Truxell will roll up on him and see what he can do here. George and Singer, 10 and 11. As a bit of a lockup there from the number 69. That's a bit wide as well out of the final corner. That's going to open the door down to turn number 1. Here comes Steve Singer on the inside. Can he get that spot? There was a lockup ahead. Down to turn 1. Singer easily on through.
Easily on through, left plenty of space. The number 69 decided not to battle too much gas, you know, just thought about the long game. It's my first race. I got a top 5 secure if I just keep my car on track. Let the leader go, let the championship leader go at this point in time. Let him reel me in. Maybe I can get something back on the next few laps. As we look further behind, Will Hewitt trying to hold back Mark Truxell right behind him. Now he's coming into a tricky braking zone downhill into turn 1. Truxell pretty much half a second behind him. He's going to be gaining a lot of time on the uphill. He's going to be on the slipstream as Will Hewitt absolutely nailed turn 1. Look at that gap, almost to 0.8 of a second. Now he only has to nail turn 2, 3, and now turn 4, and he might just be safe until the bus stop.
Remember, the Corvette has a bit more torque, and we are on board with a Corvette versus an Aston Martin following. So if you're able to get the power down without spinning the rear tires, yeah, you can definitely get a bit of a launch out of the corner. It's a matter of getting that power down without having that issue. Now, it does seem like the TC has kind of helped a lot more lately. I don't experience wheel spin as I test with these cars for each track nearly as often as I used to. So that's a little more of a moot point than it used to be, but it's still tricky out of certain corners to get on the power without spinning those rear tires. Out of turn 1, though, if you're carrying enough speed, it usually isn't an issue, and we saw that from Will Hewitt, able to get into the power, able to launch up out of turn number 1 and head up the S. He's still on board here. I just like onboard shots as Truxell a little bit, I guess, dallying off into the grass. Dilly-dallying, that's what I was looking for. Off into the grass at the turn 7.
And just trying to push as hard as he can, obviously taking a lot of risks, trying to chase down Will Hewitt for that 6th spot. might be his last battle, as there looks like 30 seconds away from the next position. That's going to be Timothy George. So this could be, you know, the last few battles as we approach 7 minutes to go. As you can see now, Mark Truex absolutely nailed the final quarter. Yeah, that was an amazing run. Can we see a dive? May not even need to be a dive. Can he go alongside the number 33? He's gonna go down into turn 1, not too deep. The 33 closes the door, and the number 5 is gonna have to let that position, let that metal go for the time being, trying to nail the exit. He's close enough, Andrew. I'll bet we're gonna see something into the back straight.
I dare say so. Down at the bus stop, that's a pretty prime passing opportunity, but can he set it up in just the right way? We'll see. Down the back stretch, Truxell now to the inside for the bus stop. Here we go. And backs on out. So what we've learned about Mark Truxell is he's very patient, doesn't want to jeopardize his own race just to get one spot on the racetrack, and I like that about a guy, but at some point you do want to try and go up there and get that spot.
Absolutely. You know, when the time comes with the final few minutes, the final lap, you know, if the car ahead of you, you know, it's close enough, you might just go for a dive. You have absolutely nothing to lose further behind. So, you know, we might see a daring move on the final few laps. I would certainly hope so. You know, that's something that, you know, we kind of all tend to do whenever it comes, as Thomas McMullen, unfortunately, looks like he has another issue. We're going to take a look at the replay to see where that happened.
Well, it was definitely turn 9, but differently than we've seen most turn 9 issues today. I love how I said turn 9 is a little bit easier, and we're still having those. I mean, like I said, it's easier, not easy. So issues here. It is one of the trickiest corners at Watkins tonight, I gotta be honest. Coming up that hill, and yep, that is much easier to do than what I would have thought. At least what I saw these guys do earlier on in the race, when they were just pounding that wall out of the corner. That, I feel, is the easier mistake to make, where you just kind of get backpedaled up the hill, get crossed up a little bit. Maybe a little too much rear brake bias, chatter the rears, and around you go. So problems there for McMullen, but the good news is we're coming up to 5 minutes to go, and Truxell has finally just gone on by Will Hewitt. That's out of turn number 1.
Yeah, so it looks like the daring move came quite a bit early. Will Hewitt tried to make it too wide into turn 2 and 3. We're going to see, it looks like a pass back. The Aston Martin trying to get back, the Corvette trying to get back at the Aston Martin. He's going to have the inside line into the bus stop, and he gets the move done. Can he slow it down? Yes, he can. Can he? Yes. There you go. He gets the move done into the bus stop. Will Hewitt back up into 6th place. So Mark Truxell looks like he made a dive into turn 1. He made it work, but unfortunately couldn't hold into it. We're going to see another dive. Look at him going down the inside, not quite close enough.
Oh, Will Hewitt completely misses turn 6, and that's that battle turned up on its head, as into the tires goes the number 33. Massive, massive problems for Will Hewitt. I mean, he had the spot back and just drove way too far to turn number 6. I mean, that right side is killed.
And that right side, unfortunately for him, is done. Oh, he's gonna be kicking himself. Yeah, he's gonna have to come back to the pits.
Oh,
so
yeah,
oh yeah, there you go. So now he's definitely gonna have to tow, and that's gonna be race over for him. He might finish ahead of Jeff Napier if he didn't use his fast repair. I'm not quite sure on that. So unfortunately for him, a top 6 went
dear.
down into flames.
Tim George.
Oh, Timothy George unfortunately losing a position. So Mark Truxell is gonna be promoted to the top 5 position.
My goodness, what is this attrition setting in now? Timothy George problems out of turn number 1, and he had been into the wall a little bit previously. Let's actually go back and get that, because he's got some new left side damage that I had not seen before. We might not be able to catch it.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happened out of turn 1, because obviously you have such a big runoff area that, you know, you're not really used to seeing a car having a massive moment there, but unfortunately for him, he did.
You can see the damage here that I was talking about. There's the right side, or left side rather, being crunched up. Looks like we won't get a look at it, but we'll go back up to turn number 1 and get the issue for him there that ultimately is going to end his race.
Probably, if it's left side damage, it could very well have happened on the final corner as well. You know, just go a bit too wide, tap the tire barrier, you know, the Armco barrier right there. So we're gonna take a look to see what happened into turn 1. I'm quite intrigued to see actually what happened, if it was on exit or entry midway through the corner. He gets the corner perfectly right on the curb on the way back. Oh my god, so he just overcorrected essentially.
An odd way to crash, actually. We'll get one more look at it. It's a very odd way to crash, I feel like.
Maybe the car got unsettled under the new curbs. Maybe just got at the, I don't know, a weird angle. As you can see, he kind of loses the back. Oh, you know, he just overcorrected, yeah.
That's race done for Tim George out of North Carolina. That is not what he wanted to have happen. First outing here gets passed up now by McMullen as we'll come back live with exactly 2 minutes to go. And it is the grid by SimLab, number 23, out front leading the way, has been since lap number 2. Even went further on the pit cycle and kept the lead there.
You know what this kind of looked like? If we had a safety car, this would have been exactly like the finale of the F1. You know, with 5 minutes to go, yeah, with 5 minutes to go, we see someone unfortunately having an incident, and then the whole race gets turned on its head. Luckily for Locke, no caution flag, no safety car, so he has an over 25-second lead. Luckily for him.
Something that is tightening up here is going to be, well, actually, no, I think it's kind of untightened up because Steve Singer's just gone on by Brian Rose. You can see the orange and black Aston Martin ahead. That is Steve Singer. And yeah, that tells us that the pass was just made this past lap because Brian Rose is tracking to Levine, even though you can see Singer is clearly ahead because Levine was ahead at the last time they went by the start-finish line. That's how that works, in case you were curious. So yeah, Brian Rose just been passed up by his teammate Steve Singer, who now, after all of this racing, has gone back onto the podium. White flag is out, presented by Tucson Sound Art. So this is actually the final time around Watkins Glen for each of these drivers. Andrew Locke is already on his final lap, and we didn't even know it.
Yeah, halfway through his final lap after an absolutely amazing race. Didn't lead lap 1, led every single other lap this race. Started in second place, it's only 0.2 of a second away from Paul, and boy oh boy, he had the best race car. He was the best racing driver. No mistakes whatsoever for the number 23, so, you know, that's going to be a job well done. That's going to be a pat on his own back as he just has to navigate his way through the final sector. And Andrew, this might be one of the most dominant wins we've had so far.
Yeah, once the mistake was made there for Steve Singer, Andrew Locke took on over, has driven out to about a 30-second lead and out of turn 11 for the final time. It is all number 23 atop the scoring pylon. Andrew Locke gets it done at Watkins Glen. What a race. Wow. I mean, 30 seconds. We got to sit here and wait 30 seconds for David Levine. Do you think we can twiddle our thumbs a little bit? I mean, seriously, what a gap built up by Andrew Locke.
Absolutely amazing, done all on race pace, and I mean, that's what you get. You know, that's consistency right there, Andrew. I guess that's one of the best examples of consistency. Once you get your rhythm down on the racing track, you just get it right. David Levine looks like he's going to be making his way into second place. That's going to be a nice finish for the Corvette on the back foot, finishing second place. He's definitely going to be happy with that. Steve Singer, after his own mistake, managed to fight his way back into third place. That's a good comeback drive right there as well.
He'll come across the line. It is a really good comeback drive. Unfortunately, it was a comeback drive. He didn't leave the car up front where he started. Brian Rose will come across the line and claim P number 4. Big day for Brian Rose, I feel like, in the points. Certainly, Mark Truxell going to come through the final couple of corners, and that's actually at a turn number 8. So he's got a little extra ways to go, and he will be the final car to come across the line and finish this race up. Back into the lead lap is certainly not where he would have wanted to finish after last week's run at Mid-Ohio, but I think he'll take it. It's still a P5, so a top 5 is certainly pretty solid points out of this all, but just, I don't know, not quite the way you want to follow up a win.
Yeah, exactly. But coming from the back end of the grid, doing absolutely no mistakes, you know, obviously not where he wanted to finish, but a good overall result if you think about it. And look at that's a nice shot right there.
Yeah, props to these three for lining up just like that. That looks good. As you can see, right in the center, that's our race winner. To his right, our left, is David Levine in second place. And to driver's left, our right, is Steve Singer, third place this evening at Watkins Glen. Really, really solid day of racing. Kind of a quiet day of racing. There were some incidents, surely, but much quieter than maybe previous rounds, and that's kind of just how the cookie crumbles. Very, very quiet day here at Watkins Glen, but I think that's okay. I think that's a nice way to kind of bring in the new track.
Yeah, absolutely. This, has been a great baptism, I guess, for the track, and, well, I cannot wait to see more of it.
That's not how I would have described a racetrack, but it works.
Okay, there we go. But yeah, I really enjoyed seeing the nice racetrack. Obviously, we got a good comparison because we saw the NARL running here on this year, I guess, on this season. So it's a good upgrade for this racetrack. Cannot wait to drive it as soon as I come back to iRacing. And well, a fantastic race to essentially baptize it, baptize it, something like that.
Still not quite how I would describe a racetrack, but it works. It works. I can't knock it necessarily, so yeah. We'll go ahead and roll with it. But that is first race at Watkins Glen on PitStop TV, done and dusted. But race number 5, more importantly, for the Superior Class Auto Racing Grid Sports Car Challenge. You can see the full schedule here, which means next up is Canadian Tire Motorsports Park in Bowmanville, Ontario. Before we, well, that'll be a 2-race trip up to Canada before we go to Monza, Italy, then Monterey, California, and Sonoma, California. So 3, I guess, countries left, country or states, even though we're going from Ontario to Quebec, then Italy, then California. We'll be right back in just a few moments. We want to thank you all for tuning in so far, but still a lot to talk about because you got to talk to each of our drivers here this evening. Andrew Locke, David Levine, and Steve Singer. That's your podium. We'll be right back to you with interviews with each 3 of them in just a few moments at PitStop TV.
Sound Art introduces an entirely new way to listen to music in your home. By combining the best of 2 products, a revolutionary high-fidelity, low-profile Bluetooth wireless speaker with beautiful artwork. Select from a library of artwork or upload your own photos to personalize your experience. Sound Art ushers in an era of invisible, beautiful, and amazing sound throughout your home and redefines your entire entertainment system. The need to reclaim your floor space and rid your home of unsightly speaker boxes that need to be bolted to the wall is now a thing of the past. Our canvas is printed on high-quality permalite by Breathing Color. And select from our gallery or upload your own. Standard sizes include 16 by 20 and 18 by 24 canvas wrapped. Custom sizing is available, as well as surround sound options.
Have you found yourself trying to hide your joy because you're unhappy with your teeth? Your smile is the first feature noticed in an interview, on a date, or in family photos. We want you to be able to shine bright as your best self, and our teeth whitening system is the perfect step toward restoring your confidence.
Welcome back to the virtual Watkins Glen and the virtual Watkins Glen, New York. It's been a fun one for the 5th round of the Superior Class Auto Racing Grid Sports Car Championship. A big shout out to Grid by SimLab powering this series. This has been a lot of fun to cover. Even last week at Mid-Ohio, only 6 cars, and tonight certainly doubled the field size and then a little bit extra, even 13 cars. But these guys put on some of the best racing that I've seen on road courses in iRacing in quite some time. I'm going to be honest, maybe just under the North American Racing League. And maybe that's just because they are GT3 cars and it's built to be around each other. But these GT1 cars, figuring in how hard they are to drive and the side-by-side battles that we still get and all the drama that we still get in this series, this is genuinely one of my favorites to cover. And the fact that Grids by SimLab steps up and partners with this series so heavily, it really just makes me really happy to see this kind of league doing so well on the iRacing.com service. And if you're out there on iRacing and you're seeing tonight's broadcasting from one of our other leagues or what have you, and you want to get involved, definitely email me at andrew@pitstoptv.com, and I will get you where you need to be, because we want you in this series. This series deserves to have so many more drivers and to get so much further off of the ground. It is genuinely one of the best on iRacing, and that makes us so proud to cover it here on PitStop TV and to bring in our race winner for round number 5, Andrew Locke. Certainly a very, very good day, and it seems like it was pretty much smooth sailing the entire way. You got the lead on lap number 2 and you kept it.
Yeah, I kind of figured that Steve and I would be staying indoors the whole race, but obviously he ran into trouble entering the pits, so that was kind of unfortunate. I was looking forward to that because Watkins Glen is kind of Steve and my their home track, so we come here every year in real life, and I love it. It's a great track.
It is a fantastic racetrack. As a New York native then, how excited are you to finally be able to race on this new surface, the new curbing and everything, the proper runoff?
Well, luckily I've got some real life experience on it already, so but it's pretty cool to see it finally stand in iRacing. So it's just like it is in real life. It's absolutely amazing. So.
Now, sporting Grid by SimLab on the side of your car, you've been one of, if not the best driver of the series week in, week out. That said, you missed a week last time through at Mid-Ohio. This race, though, I feel like is going to kind of pad your way to racing for a championship. How do you kind of view yourself in all of that? Are you going for a championship? Are you not really thinking about it? How does that work out for Andrew Locke in the number 23 car?
Definitely thinking about it. Next race is going to be Mosport, so that's also another one of my favorite tracks in the Sims. So hopefully we can have a good result there. And Steve just informed me some penalties I'll be receiving, but we'll try to work through it. Yeah, I just want to thank Grid, and this weekend I received their new P911 rim, and it's absolutely fantastic. So definitely suggest everybody go check out their website, check out what they have, and yeah, it's all good stuff.
Yeah, admittedly, I don't know a ton about Grid, but what I do know and what I have looked at on their website is fantastic stuff. Certainly something to take a look at if you are an avid sim racer. Andrew, thanks so much for your time. We'll talk to you, I'm sure, next time out at Mosport. Sounds like you're already ready for it, so I'm just going to go ahead and pencil that one in already. We'll be talking to you on a podium. Congratulations with this race win, second of the season. We'll see you next time out.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. Have a good night.
Yeah, Andrew there for the post-race interview. First one of the evening. We'll move things on down the line, though, to second place, and JP Costa has got the one, the only, David Levine.
So David, you are obviously the best finishing Corvette tonight on here at Watkins Glen. Obviously, not a brand new track, but obviously revamped. What are your opinions on the new track?
When I first went to Watkins Glen in real life, gosh, this would have been 2012 and 13. They were just starting the real life repave that we have now in iRacing, and it was incredible. And now that we've got it here on the service, it really makes, in my opinion, the racing better. And obviously they did this, to make sure that mistakes weren't punished as hard, because I know that if we were on the old scan, that I definitely would have had that Corvette a couple feet shorter and after a couple little mistakes.
It may have been a bit lighter as well. Obviously, you had quite a quiet race. Actually, we haven't really seen too much of you. You kind of just ran your own race. Just talk us through it.
Yeah, like you said, it was pretty quiet. I think I don't think on speed I'd really deserve to be here up in second. For sure I think that that Andrew and Steve were definitely faster than me, and then I think it was Dave Bradford at the start. I think he probably spun on lap 8 or 9 or so, and kind of just gifted me third at that point. And then I don't know, I think Steve might have taken tires or had a pit lane penalty or something like that on the pit stop, but. All in all, it was a really good race for the 59 team, and just like you said, kind of boring, kind of lonesome, but sometimes that's okay.
Absolutely, sometimes that's okay. I'm pretty sure you'll definitely take second place, obviously. And how do you prepare for next round at Canadian Tire?
That's going to be definitely a lot of practice for that. Mostport or Canadian Tire is definitely a very ballsy track, and high commitment levels are required there. And it's been a really long time since I've driven these cars, and it kind of was a bit of a wake-up call in qualifying with how hard you have to throw these things around. But at the same time, you got to be easy with them. And Mostport is definitely a really great racetrack, but it does just take some time to build the confidence up in there, just because it is so freaking fast.
It is fast, it is tricky, but it's so much fun. With that, I'm gonna let you, enjoy the end of the year festivity. Wishing you a happy new year. But who do you have to thank for your result here? Who does the 59 team has to thank?
Yeah, well, first of all, I got to say a big thanks to everybody here at PitStop TV for doing everything that you do to keep leagues like this going, and definitely happy holidays and happy new year to you guys as well. But got to say a big shout out to Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Carolina's Realty, and HMS Motorsport for everything that they do to keep our cars on the racetrack, both in real life and in sim.
Well, there we go. So I'm gonna wish you, best of luck into next round. Hopefully we can talk to you then. But with that, enjoy your end of the year festivity.
Thank you, guys.
Well, Andrew, that was David Levine, second place finisher, best Corvette, splitting both Aston Martins.
And it's not quite a teammate, but certainly a friend of our race winner is Steve Singer, coming home third place. And I'm going to be honest with you, Steve, never after lap 2 did I think we'd be talking to you, at least certainly after your pit penalty. What happened there coming into the pit lane? Well, actually, I guess back up. What happened on lap 2?
Well, lap 2, just before I really got settled into any kind of a rhythm, trying to battle with Andrew, and you got to stay out in front of him, and if you don't, it's pretty much all she wrote. But I got real wide, got up in the loose stuff, tires weren't really hot enough yet, and just scraped the wall. It didn't hurt the car too bad, I don't think. I didn't have the right side mirror, maybe, but felt fine. But then, of course, I blew it on entry into pit lane. I unfortunately did not practice that at all. Silly me. But got the pit lane speeding penalty, cost me 40 seconds there, and glad we were able to get it back to a top 3.
That drops you way back in the order, and now you've got to play the attrition game, a lot like last week at Mid-Ohio. And you still work your way up to where you're talking to us after the race. So now, does this kind of, I guess, smooth things out on the day? Is it still kind of looked at as a decent day, or is it still looked at as, man, we've got to get something going?
We'll take it. I mean, I was 19 seconds behind David after a 40-second penalty. So, I mean, really, I only gave up one position as far as the points were concerned. I think that puts me a total, if I didn't have the penalty, I still would have been about 9 seconds behind Andrew, because in pitting when I did, it was actually a little bit too soon. So I spent the next 3 or 4 laps trying to conserve fuel just so I wouldn't have to stop again. So that cost me. And early on, I was hoping, well, maybe I can get Andrew for fastest lap, but he got me by a whole 1/1000th of a second. So lost that point too. So going on to January, we're going into, I think it's Mostport. Andrew's really good there too. So I don't know. We're just going to have to play it by ear and take the third place points that we got today and keep our heads up, I guess.
Now, for the championship, there's certainly a lot of twists and turns to try and follow. And with Andrew Locke missing a race or two, how does that change things for you? Are you still full attack, or do you breathe a little easier at night?
Well, not really. I mean, I'm still going to push like I would anyway, so you're going to see mistakes out of me like you might have seen last week, a little bit today, but we get a drop race in this series, so he missed one. There's some exceptions to that. I don't think you were able to miss Daytona. You weren't able to miss Watkins Glen, and I think the finale was the other race you're not allowed to miss. The other 7 races, you can drop one of them, so your worst one does fall off. So far, Andrew's in good shape. He can dump that one off, but I think Barber might have been tough too. He might have had a wreck. I don't remember. Maybe he was top 3. I got to go back and look, but I don't know. It's going to be a battle, that's for sure.
Well, that's Steve Singer in the Popple Aston Martin. Buddy, congratulations on somehow, some way, still getting a podium finish out of this one. We'll see you then at, I almost said Mid-Ohio again. No, Canadian Tire. We'll see you on the far side of the new year. Merry Christmas to you and everybody else, and yeah, Happy New Year. We'll see you at Canadian Tire.
Andrew, Merry Christmas. Thanks again, man. Have a good holiday, too. Good New Year's.
That's Steve Singer, 1 lap led. I feel like that's still a good stat to have at the end of the day. 1 lap led here at Watkins Glen. And I just realized I didn't say Merry Christmas to Andrew Locke, but Merry Christmas to his family and everybody else here watching, all the drivers in the field. And well, everybody, Merry Christmas to everybody. Let's look at our results from Watkins Glen. First time on the new surface. Wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest with you. Andrew Locke does wrap up the first win for PitStop. Well, I guess first win seen on PitStop TV at this new track. David Levine then second place, just over 30 seconds behind. I mean, what a day for Andrew Locke. Third ends up going to Steve Singer. Really solid day there if you overlook the pit penalty and the contact with the wall. Brian Rose, another really good day. I don't think I ever saw that 89 car sideways or backwards. So seriously, hats off to Brian Rose. That's the kind of development that you want to see. That's the kind of development that, yeah, we'll be a little bit harsh on, we'll point out. But then we also want to point out when these drivers turn things around, develop, and have these kinds of days. Brian Rose, seriously, hats off to you. Much like Mark Truxell last week, very, very impressed with the effort from that number 89. Mark Truxell does then come in and take the back spot of the top 5. McMullen in 6th. Timothy George, his first start, 2 laps down in 7th. Early exit for him, unfortunately, after such a good race. Jeff Napier in 8th. Will Hewitt in 9th. And Carson Conway, 10th place.
16 laps down is going to be both David Bradford in the number 46 and 12th place finisher Cody Harger, and unfortunately 21 laps down it's going to be Stephen Baldwin in 13th place. That's going to round off our grid for, I guess, the final race of the year until we come back next year in January for Canadian Tire.
Yeah, final one of 2021 for this series. Thankfully, we got a couple of extra broadcasts to finish out 2021. Unless things change, we've got exactly 4 broadcasts left, and here are 2 of them. Because that one in the middle, well, Merry Christmas to everybody coming up. We are less than a week away from the holiday. I cannot believe it. I seriously cannot believe we're talking about Christmas already. It feels like it's still like maybe October at the best. Maybe more like September. It's so crazy to me that so many days of this 2021 have already gone by. It's kind of wild. But tomorrow night, Monday evening, the USA International Speedway with Big Block Modifieds at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's the BRPI Racing Series. Should be a lot of fun, a lot of points battles to keep in track there. Mostly Brandon Plank. He's now got 2 wins in the season, first driver to do so, much like Andrew Locke tonight. So similar situation, except Brandon Plank hasn't missed a race, so he is very well out front in the point standings, just trailing, or not trailing, but just, no, you know what? I'm trying to think. I don't think Plank did win. He did not win just yet. Who the heck won the most recent races? Like, I guess this is why you have to tune in, because even I can't keep it all straight. There's a lot of races that go down and here at PitStop TV, and man, I'm starting to mix them all up. But regardless, point being, Brandon Plank is the points leader, I believe now by just 2 points. We'll find out more tomorrow on the PitStop TV social media feed and, of course, the broadcast. That, I guess, is a good time to mention then, JP, the PitStop TV social media feed, because even I'm going to need a little bit of a refresher on the BRPI Racing Series points.
Exactly. I mean, you should definitely follow us for live updates, and I mean, everything else, Andrew, doesn't it? You know, on Facebook, obviously at facebook.com/PitStop TV, live coverage, live updates, everything else from PitStop TV, as well on Twitter, twitter.com/PitStop TV_. There you get amazing shots, amazing news, everything else you get from Twitter, on Instagram.com/pit_stop_TV, and obviously live coverage on YouTube and Twitch at youtube.com/PitStop TV1. I mean, you should definitely follow us on each and every single social media to make sure you don't miss a single thing.
And we've got an announcement coming soon on social media that if you are any kind of fan of road racing, you will want to catch. You will want to make sure you catch that announcement, be it to race, to watch, to be a part of, what have you. You will want to catch that announcement. That's all I'll say for right now. But yeah, of course, midweek content regarding the BRPI Racing Series, the Superior Class Auto Racing Grid Sports Car Championship, the North American Racing League, the Outlaw Sim Series, everything else that we cover. I'm kind of blanking. The Midwest Sim Racing Association Truck Series is coming back in 2022. Yeah, there's a whole lot to talk about with each of our series and each of our partners here at PitStop TV. You can catch all of that on our social media channels as down below and as highlighted there by the wonderful JP Costa. I feel like that just about does it. I will ask you real quick though, JP, final thoughts then, leaving Watkins Glen International with the brand new curbing, the brand new runoff, and of course the brand new asphalt that makes this place so much better in my opinion to drive, and of course brings it into the modern era, if you will.
Exactly. This, I guess, just as you mentioned, brought Watkins Glen into a new era of iRacing. It was already quality back then. In the previous asphalt, the previous tarmac, it was much more difficult, as David Levine pointed out. But this just brought racing closer. The new curbs, everything else just brought this, I guess, the circuit a new life. As it's so deserved. And well, these boys made a fantastic show here tonight, and I cannot wait to see more of this circuit on our broadcast, because this has been so much fun and I love this racetrack so much. Cannot wait to see it again.
Yeah, I'm not sure when the next time Watkins Glen will be on a PitStop TV broadcast is, but I'm certainly looking forward to it. No offense, but a lot more than I used to. Having this place updated makes it so much better in every single way. So seriously, hats off to iRacing, getting this thing in the sim before the end of year of 2021. It really, really is worth it, and they've done a fantastic job. It looks great. That will do it, though, this evening for PitStop TV. Want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Glad to have taken you through today's coverage of the Superior Class Auto Racing Grid Sports Car Championship. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV. I've had JP Costa alongside throughout the course of the evening, and minus one little blip, I think we did pretty all right. So we certainly appreciate y'all watching. If you do want to get involved with PitStop TV, whether that's as a commentator, social media, race analyst, producer, anything, or if you want to advertise on PitStop TV, by all means, feel free to reach out at andrew@pitstoptv.com via email. It's certainly once again been appreciated. We will see you next time again tomorrow evening with the VRP iRacing series.